Come on, my ladies. Let's get back in the room. Let's get back in the room for Let's Talk with Cynthia on tonight. Came on a little earlier. Just want to get everybody fired up. I need everybody to share right now. I need everybody to share. Let everybody know that we are on. We are on. Come back into the room. Everybody come on. But Let's Talk with Cynthia. We're going to be dealing with toxic relationships. And we talked about a few things as I was letting everybody just get a sneak preview. Come on in the room. I need everybody. Come on in the room. Because we're going to deal with this tonight. I need to get everybody. I want to get everybody hyped and excited about just getting better, just doing some things differently. And so as you're coming in a room, just please, come on, share, get everybody, come on in the room, bring everybody in front, in front of what we're talking about tonight, because of toxic relationships. And I want to start out the gate. With sharing some of the quotes that I've been putting out, especially for this week, dealing with toxic relationships. And so here is the first quote that I want to share with you. And it says this: never lose who you are for the benefit of someone else. Never lose who you are for the benefit of someone else. Do not allow anyone, I don't care where you are, what relationships you in, do not lose who you are. Who you are matter. Women, you are beautiful. You are God's chosen. God loves you. He loves you. He loves everything about you. Never lose who you are. Never lose who you are for the benefit of someone else. Never lose who you are. I need y'all to hear this tonight. Not only that, you don't have to remove your boundaries to share your love. The boundaries, the morals, the standards that you have, you do not have to remove them to prove your love or to share your love. You don't have to do that. And your character should never be compromised. Your character should never be compromised. The person that you are should be the person that you are no matter where you are. Do y'all hear me? The person that you are should be the person that you are no matter where you are. That shouldn't change. You should be who you are in public as well as who you are in private. There should not be two yous. The Bible said a double-minded person is what? Unstable in what? In all of his ways. So you got to be the true you no matter where you are. The true you no matter what you're doing in life. So your character should never be compromised. And here's the last quote that I want to share with you. It is not our responsibility to heal the brokenness in others. It is our responsibility to identify when their brokenness is breaking us. Do you hear me? So if you're in a relationship, if you're in a friendship, even when it becomes in other areas, whether it's ministry, whatever those areas are, I need y'all to hear me. Whatever those areas are, you need to understand it is not our responsibility to heal the brokenness in others. It is our responsibility to identify when their brokenness is breaking us. Is who you're with breaking you or building you? Is who you are currently with breaking you or building you? We need to know this. We need to understand this. We need to get to a place where we get out of these toxic relationships just because we've been there so long and still hanging around certain things. Here's what 1 Corinthians 15:33 says in the Easy Read translation. It said, don't be fooled. Bad friends will ruin good habits. And don't come back and come back to the right way of thinking and stop sinning. So some of you don't even know who God is. I say this is shame to you. And here's another scripture that is powerful. Romans 16 verses 17 and 18 in the Easy to Read. It says, brother and sisters, I want you to be very careful of those who cause arguments and hurt people's faith by teaching things that are against what you've learned. Stay away from them. People like that are not serving our Lord Christ. They are only pleasing themselves. They use fancy talk to say nice things to fool those who don't know about evil. Now listen, how many of you, when you started out the gate in a relationship, it was healthy? When you started out, it was healthy, but it became polluted. You started out the gate in that relationship was healthy, right? So you thought, but it was false representation. I can do whatever I need to do to get you. But sooner or later, the true person will always be revealed. And there are signs that we need to look at when it comes to toxic relationships. And I gave some of you that came on earlier a sneak preview of what we're going to talk about tonight because I think it's important. Now, here's a question I do want to throw out there. I want to throw this question out there real quick. Why do we stay in toxic relationship longer than we should? Why? Why do we stay in toxic relationships longer than we should? I want to hear your comments. Why do we stay? Why do we stay longer than we should? Why do we stay in these unhealthy, toxic relationships? Why do we hang around? What do you think it is? Selfishness. Wow. So we stay in these relationships because of selfishness, because we're just selfish. We stay in these unhealthy relationships. These relationships are not benefiting us. They're not building you. They're not building you. Because we don't think we can do better. That's good. A lot of times we stay in these toxic relationships because we don't think we can do any better. So we settle. So we stay there, going through all that we're going through, seeing all of these signs. And y'all know how when we first meet somebody, let me just kind of rewind for a quick second. Y'all know how when we meet somebody, we get into a relationship, right? So we get this false representation because most times it's not the true thing. In some cases, people are true to who they are. But we move in with the AAA effect. We first get that attraction, then we check out the appearance, and then we get the attention. And so once we gather these things that we're yearning for because we're deficient in, a lot of us run to these relationships and we get into them and we find out that they're polluted. Toxic relationships, toxic just mean poisoned. It's going to destroy you. It's taking the breath out of you. It's making you not even know who you are anymore. How many of you have been in a toxic relationship for so long that you lost sight of who you are? You lost sight of who God called you to be. You lost sight of your strength. You lost sight of your ability to do anything because you settled. You settled because you thought that you had to stay in a place that you don't have to stay in. Sometimes you got to get up and you got to go. You got to go. And you got to be okay with that. Walking around on eggshells. Unbalanced relationships. There's no balance. You're carrying the person instead of caring for each other. You're holding that person and you're doing everything for that person because you just want to stay there. You just want to stay there. Why? Why are you carrying them? Caring for them is one thing. Carrying them is another thing. That's a toxic relationship. And hoping you can change them. Well, let me give you a little tip here. You can't change anybody. You can't. All you can do is work on you. All you can do is build you. But you need to know when you are in an unhealthy, toxic relationship, you need to make your move. And let me just talk a little bit about soul ties. Because some of us, we get connected with these people and get into these relationships and we tie our souls to them. And this is dangerous. Because you're going to start, I'm telling you, this is dangerous because you connect to them and then you tie your soul to them, right? And let me just say, there's no scriptural, the Bible reference soul ties, but it doesn't talk about the actual word soul ties. So let's be clear. But there is a passage where it talks about marriage that the Bible says that the two will become one, that they will become one flesh. There is a tying together. There is a common coming together. This is why we should not be in unauthorized places and unauthorized beds doing things that we know we shouldn't be doing, because you can end up in a toxic place. And most of us, if we're honest, we are finding ourselves in toxic relationships over and over and over again. And we lack self-care. We lack not caring for ourselves the way that we should. We lack not spending time with ourselves. And some of us are wasting away. We have turned to drinking. We have turned to taking medicine to go to sleep. We have turned that I'm in this toxic relationship, and the only way I can cope is to do this, is to do that. Some of you are going into another toxic relationship trying to make you okay with the one that you don't know that you still shouldn't be in. So you try to go create another relationship that's toxic, and it's just a whirlwind. It's a whirlwind. And we really got to understand the difference. I'm telling you. And these toxic relationships will drain you physically and emotionally. They will drain you. These toxic relationships will drain you. This is why you got to be careful who you hang around with. Let me say this. I ain't hang around nobody that's pulling me. I'm going to be around people that's pushing me. I'm going to be around people that's balanced in my life. I'm not going to be in no relationship with no unbalanced friend, no unbalanced marriage. I'm not doing it. And we have to get up and wake up and say, how long are you going to sit here in this unbalanced relationship expecting it to be something and not identifying that it's toxic and it's destroying you? It's taking the breath out of you. And you're not doing what God has called for you to do. Some of us are sitting on the sideline saying, well, maybe I don't have it because this is how they keep saying, maybe I can try it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can do whatever God has purposed for you. All of my women that are on this line, you can do whatever God has purposed for you. There is no stopping you. And to all of my men that's on this line, there is no stopping you either. Why are we wasting away with these toxic relationships? And hear me clear. Some of us have an issue in connecting in toxic relationships, and some of us have a self-afflicted toxic relationship with ourselves. Some of us have a bad relationship with how we see ourselves. Are you hearing me? Some of these relationships we have with ourselves is messing us up. How do you see you? Why do you see that you're not worthy of anything? Why do you see that you can't do more? Why do you see that you can't go out here and do the things that God has called for you to do? Who told you this? How we see ourselves can be toxic. The people we connect to can cause us to be involved in a toxic relationship. The people we hang around with, our friends, our family, even in church, can be toxic. But we have to deal with this. We have to deal with this. And this will break down, let me tell you something, mentally, emotionally. Being in these toxic relationships, man, I'm telling you, it will just mess with your whole mental being. It will cause you to just be off sync with so many things. And I'm telling you, you violate, you rob yourself. You rob yourself. Your heart is so broken. You stay in these toxic relationships. And I'm telling you, fixing toxic people is not our job. Do y'all hear me? That's not our job. Stop trying to fix people because you can't. I don't care what you do. You can put whatever you want on a pig. It's still going to be a pig. You can dress it up and do whatever you want. A pig is going to be a pig. Only thing that can change a pig is God chooses to redo and recreate the pig. Listen, stop trying to think you can change people. Just stop it because you're just wasting a bunch of time and a bunch of energy. Because at the end of the day, they're going to keep doing what they want to do. And listen, girl, you said it right. It's not our assignment. Absolutely. It is not our job. It's not our assignment at all. And it just robs you of your time. When you're in toxic relationships, let me tell y'all something. Most of us waste a bunch of time and energy staying in a place that we don't need to be staying in. Why are you still staying in that place, still dealing with those situations, and you know it's unbalanced, and you know there's no value there, and you know it's a bunch of pulling and no pushing you? Why is it we allow and all of this time to just go by? We waste time. I'm telling you, we really have to learn. And you violate yourself. Listen, these toxic relationships rob you of you. Listen, you lose who you are. How many of you ladies have been in a relationship that have caused you to question who you are and what God called you to do? Like, for real. How many of us? We've been in relationships. And I'm not just talking about, listen, I'm not just talking about a relationship with a person. I'm also talking about a relationship with a friend. I'm talking about your relationship with yourself. I'm talking about with relationships in church. Because see, how you see yourself is, you got to check how you see you. How do you see you will always determine how you value you. How you see you will always determine how you value you. It will determine what you do. It will determine who you do it with. And it will determine the motive and the agenda of why you're doing it. And most relationships, again, is just, it start out sweet, man. It start out sweet. I look back over my past relationships that, they started out sweet. I mean, like, man. And then all of a sudden down the line, we're like, yo, who are you? Like, where did this come from? I got to get up out of here. No. I got to be around people that's pushing me, not people that's pulling me. I got to be around people that's building, strengthening me. You got to know who you are. You got to love yourself. All of my ladies, you got to love yourself. You got to value yourself. You got to know your value. You got to know your worth. You can't keep sitting in these toxic relationships. And listen, there's some things that you can do. I'm telling you, you don't have to stay there. If they are willing to invest in doing something different to get the help that they need, then you need to go forth and go with them getting the help that they need. But here it is. You will determine whether or not that relationship can be fixed. And I shared this with you when I came on, right before I came on at 7:30. They have to have a willingness to invest in making the relationship better. If you're in a relationship and they're not willing to get counseling, they're not willing to get help, they're not willing to listen, they're not willing to make any changes, they want to keep doing what they're doing, I think you need to be making some decisions. Now, I'm not the person to tell you what decisions you need to make, but I guess I'll tell you this. You'll get tired of stuff sometimes, and you'll realize that you need to make a decision because you got to be led by God. I can't tell you what to do. God will tell you what to do. If you seek his face and if you pray, he'll tell you when it's time to get up, when it's time for you to stand up, and when it's time for you to walk away. God will show you every time. I promise you. He'll tell you. But here's the other thing. They have to have the willingness. They have to have the willingness to make the relationship better. If you're in a toxic relationship and they're not trying to make it better, okay, then you need to be doing better. You need to make a decision that I'm going to do better. I'm going to go and do whatever it takes so that this relationship could be exactly what God has designed and purposed for this relationship to be. And they have to take responsibility for their part. Now, listen, like I told you before, when you start a relationship, it looks healthy until you find out later on it's polluted, right? But if we own it, we take ownership, right? And we accept what we did, what our part was, we take responsibility, then you can work on getting that relationship where it needs to be. But if they're unwilling to take responsibility for that part, because we all have a part to play. All right, I know you think you got it all together, girl. I know you think you won't never do nothing wrong. Wrong. We all mess up. We are all on this call, all on this line. Everybody that's listening to me live, even people that's going to come back and listen to the re-recording. We all are imperfect people, but we have a part to play. Are we clear about that? All of us have our part to play, and we have to take accountability. And not only that, we must go from blaming to understanding. You got to stop blaming people. You got to start understanding people. If you want to get out of these toxic relationships and you're willing to go and really fix where you are, you have to get from blaming to understanding. Why we play the blame game on everything? We play the blame game when it comes to husband and wives. We play the blame game when it comes to dating. We play the blame game when it comes to friendships. We play the blame game when it comes to church. Everybody blaming everybody. If so-and-so would have did this, this would have been better. Why don't you get from blaming to understanding? Can you understand? Because everything you think you got it right, you don't have it right, girl. I know I don't. I am an imperfect person. Just taking the corner God has called me to take to be a blessing to other people. And you got to get counseling or bring a mediator if necessary. All right? So now you're in a toxic relationship. You really want to fix it? These are the 4 reasons why you can determine whether or not it can be fixed. If they're not willing to get no counseling, now listen, they're not willing to get no mediator to come in because they don't want nobody to know that stuff. Why you don't want nobody to know your stuff? Because you're unwilling to change? Because you're not willing to deal with what's going on and you want to remain toxic and mean and unbalanced? No. I'm not going to keep sitting here because I need people around me to push me. I don't need people pulling me away from what God has called me to do, pulling me away from the greatness that's in me, pulling me away from I know what my anointing is, pulling me away from. And listen, and let me tell you something. I know I got God pushing me, and anybody else after God is a plus. But I'm telling you, I don't let nobody stop me from what God is calling for me to do. And you can't. You don't have to stay in no toxic relationship. You got to get up and move. You got to get up and know that you're better than that. You got to get up, and you got to know that you're better than that. And I read this when I came on earlier, and I'm going to read it again in James 1, verses 7 and 8 in the easy read. It says, people like that are thinking 2 different things at the same time. They can never decide what to do. So they should not think they will receive anything from the Lord. There comes a time in your life where you got to make a decision. You got to know. The Bible said, choose ye this day who you going to serve. He said a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. What did God say about you? It is not God's design for us to stay in these toxic relationships. It is not God's design for us to sit and not do the things that we're called to do. It is not God's design for us as women not to get up and rise up and be what we are called to be. You're going to sit there and stay in those relationships that are destroying you. No, we can't. You are too powerful. You're too anointed. To hear somebody telling you, would nobody listen to you? You'll never be able to be nothing. You're not smart enough. You don't know how to speak right. Don't you ever let nobody talk you out of what God called you to. Never lose who you are for the benefit of someone else. Never lose who you are. Never lose who you are. If you belong to God, listen. Whatever is driving you, you need to know who's driving you. If it is God, go with God. But don't let nobody else tell you who you are, how powerful you are, how anointed you are. God tells us. The Bible says promotion comes from God. It doesn't come from man. It comes from God. You have to know your worth. You have to know your value. And here's what it says in Romans, again, chapter 16, 17, and 18, and it's easy to read. It said, brothers and sisters, I want you to be very careful of those who cause arguments. I need y'all to listen to this. And hurt people's faith by teaching things that are against what you've learned. Stay away from them. Stay away from them. Stay away from them. I mean, y'all better get this. Stay away from them. People like that are not serving our Lord Christ. They are only pleasing themselves. Let me tell you something. You better stay away from self-pleasers. That all they're concerned about is pleasing themselves. All they're concerned about is you doing what they want you to do and not understanding what God has called you to do. You better be careful. They use fancy talk and they say nice things to fool those who don't know about evil. Don't be tricked by the flattery of words and people saying all of this stuff. I'm telling you, you got to pay attention to what God is calling for you to do. We got to trust God. We got to trust God. And I want to thank Chantel because, she was talking to me, about these soul ties and how some of us ladies, you get in these relationships, and some of y'all know y'all been trespassing for a minute. You go out here and you sleep around. Y'all know y'all ain't married. Now, y'all know you ain't supposed to be doing this. Now, you say you love God, you accepted God. Listen, we all imperfect, we all mess up. But you go and you tie your soul to a person, and then you find yourself wondering why, you're going through things emotionally and mentally, and you get into these toxic relationships, and it's just draining you, and you're losing sight. A piece of you feel like that you're losing who you are. It's not that you will ever lose who you are. It's that you got to rediscover who you are. You got to go back and rediscover, because when toxic relationships are in your presence, they drain you. And because they drain you, it doesn't take away what God has purpose for your life. You just got to go back and rediscover you again. You got to go back and replay what God said to you. You got to go back and believe in yourself again. You got to go back and do the things that God has called for you to do. You got to go back and say, no, I'm not going to listen to this. I'm going to be around people that's pushing me. Dreams, witty inventions. I've been around people that pulled me. And you can't be around people that's pulling you, that's toxic. That relationship is toxic. What are you adding? Are you adding value to my life? What are you adding? What are you doing? I know what God said about me. What you say don't matter. Because I know what God said about me. You got to stand on what God said about you. Women of God, I love y'all. Listen to me. Get out of these toxic relationships. Release yourself. Don't stay there. Don't stay there. And like I shared, and I love the quotes that's in my spirit, because we think we can fix people. We are not responsible to heal the brokenness of others. It is our responsibility to identify when their brokenness is breaking us. You need to sit down and identify, is this building me or is it breaking me? How many of you have encountered a toxic relationship? How many of you are still sitting in a toxic relationship? And what are you going to do about it? Are you going to stay? Because toxic relationships, most of it, the enemy is enemy. Most of us have a toxic relationship on how we see ourselves and how we allow people to view us. We got to change. We got to do some things differently. We got to wake up, y'all. We got to wake up. We gotta revisit some things. We got to do things God's way. Y'all, you stop letting this intruder, this enemy come in and mess with you and make you think you don't have no value and you don't have no worth. When God says a thing, that settles everything. When God says a thing, that settles everything. God is the one who makes the last move. So we have to make sure that whatever we're in, and this is how you know if it's toxic, if it's unbalanced, if they're territorial, if they're unwilling to deal with confrontation or criticism, this is how you know, right? This is how you know. And they just all about them. They're selfish. They're self-absorbed. All they want you to do, no. You'll lose sight trying to please everybody else. You'll lose sight of who you are. Rediscover who you are. Get back to what God said about you. Don't you allow the opinion of other people to take you off course of what God called you to do. You are powerful. You are mighty. You are strong. You are beautiful and you have value. Your body has value. That's why don't be going and tying your soul to people and getting in all these relationships thinking that's going to be your answer. Because it'll start out looking like it's a good thing, but you'll be polluted and you'll lose more of you every time you enter into unauthorized places. So we really have to discover this. We have to. We have to. We have to. Because it's robbing us. It's hurting our heart. It's robbing us out of our time. Many of us have wasted so much time in these toxic relationships with people, and we think we just got to stay. I mean, I ain't never seen so many people loyal to unhealthy things. Why in the world are we so loyal to things that are unhealthy? Listen, I've been there, so I know, because in the beginning it looked like that thing gonna be good, but boy, oh boy, it wasn't. So here's what I want to do. I want to really try to answer some questions. And so this time, before I close out tonight, I want to answer your questions. So put your questions now in the comment section. And I'm going to put my glasses on just in case I can't see. So put your questions in. If you have a question for me, and my assistant, she's online too, so she will filter the questions. But I want you, if you have a question for me, I wanted to take time tonight to really try to answer some of your questions pertaining to toxic relationships. I want to kind of stay in the zone. But I also would like for you to put in the comment section any other topics that you would like for me to talk about. Because I am definitely interested in giving you some answers to some of the things that you need answers to. And I'm going to do my best. I don't know everything. I really don't. But I have a God that I serve, and whatever I don't know, I'm just going to tell y'all, girl, I don't know. I'll research it for you. I'll find out. But I don't know, because I don't know everything. But one thing I do know is what God tells me to give to you. And hopefully it helped you of what I shared so that you can get your power, get your strength back. Come on now, let's get up and let's do something. So if you have a question, I want you to put your question in, because I want to answer your questions. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see, because I can't see it all that good. So if you have a question, it could be, whatever your question is pertaining to toxic relationships, and I'll do my best to try to answer them. And also any other topics that you would like for us to discuss, if you can put that in the comment section as well, because we want to make sure that we are dealing with the things that, you really want us to discuss. And also, too, I want to do a giveaway tonight. So one person will receive a gift tonight. So everybody put your Cash Apps back in the comment section for me. One person will receive a giveaway tonight. So please put your Cash App in the comment section, and my assistant will do the rotation for our winner for tonight. So if everybody can put your Cash App right now while we're waiting for questions to come. Let me just see. I'm just trying to see if there's any questions coming in. I am looking. Awesome. Well, hey, Crystal. I love you. Oh, thank you. Any questions? Because I want to answer your questions. And any questions that you may have. Because listen, toxic relationships, the negativity and how it really impacts our growth. People don't understand how toxic relationships can really negatively impact your ability to grow. Toxic relationships can really, really impact your ability to grow. And we have to deal with this. And identifying that we have to create those boundaries. I see the Cash Apps coming in. Keep your Cash Apps coming in, because we're going to draw tonight, our winner for tonight. Keep your Cash Apps coming in. This is why people should stay on to the end, because you never know what's going to happen. Oh, wow. Let me just see. Wow. Thank you. Ethel. I just thank you all. Thank you. I'm reading your comment. While I was a victim of a serious toxic relationship, and I am in the process of getting out. Wow. Well, I'm telling you, a lot of times we are in places and we stay there and we think, and let me just say this, too, because here's what I need you to understand. Because when you hear the word toxic, you think, oh, it ain't that bad. Let me tell you something. Mental abuse, because you're not just talking about physical abuse. Mental and emotional, that is heavy because it's a long lasting. That mental abuse, always being negative, always being mean to you, always making you feel like you're nothing, always making them feel like they're better than you, always making you feel like you don't have a place and you don't have any strength. Listen, that you're not strong enough, that nobody wants you. Only people, if you leave me, nobody will want you. They make you feel like you have no worth. Listen to me, that mental abuse, you're not pretty, you're overweight, or you don't have what it takes. All these things that we hear, that mental abuse, that is toxic. It is. So we really, really have to deal with that. All right, I'm giving everybody a few more minutes to get their Cash Apps in as the Cash Apps coming in. Do I have a question? All right, let me see. I got to see if I can see this question. It's Callie. All right, here's Callie's question. How to move on from a toxic relationship that was very, hold on, girl. Let me put my glasses on. All right, hold on. I'm gonna get it. All right, here we go. Is this from Amy? No, let me go back to Callie. Come on now, y'all coming. I'm trying to read. Let me read Callie's question first. How to move on from a toxic relationship that was really traumatizing, and when you, that was really traumatizing. And when you meet new people, they give you a flashback from that toxic relationship. That's a great question. I'm sorry, it cut off the last part of your question. All right, so Callie, let me answer your question first. All right, because once you're in a toxic relationship, right? And when you are now coming into another relationship, because you did not really deal with the triggers and you didn't process that toxic relationship, those reminders is what causes you to have flashbacks, because you start to see some same patterns, you start to see some similar behaviors. But here's the difference. If that person is willing to deal with those behaviors, you can build and you can grow from that. But the reason why you're getting those flashbacks is because it reminds you of what you came out of, because you still haven't processed it properly. So I'm going to say to you is that we got to make sure we come out all the way before we get into any other relationships, because if you don't, you're going to always get those reminders or those triggers, because the enemy, that's what he does. He's going to keep allowing certain things to be in the forefront of where you are, so he can kind of stop you from the momentum of moving and being able to get past something, because you're going to find somebody you meet that's going to have similar things, but it doesn't mean it's not something that you can work on. So hopefully I answered your question. If not, you can call me, Callie, and I'll definitely try to answer that question for you. Let me see. There's another question. Let me tell y'all this phone is so little. Okay. Once you leave a toxic relation, a toxic situation, how do you start to move forward? Amy, great question. All right. See, again, the healing have to take place. A lot of times we go out and into another relationship. We leave one and then we go get into another one. That's not cool, because you have to properly heal. So I always recommend, I don't care where you are in a relationship, you got to get you together first. So you got to process everything that you went through, because it's traumatic. A lot of this stuff is heavy. Some of you endured certain things in your relationship that really caused you to kind of see yourself. This is why you got to get healed, because remember I shared with you, when you're in a toxic relationship, it affects you physically. It affects you spiritually and emotionally and mentally. So you got to get that. You got to get the help you need first before you move on and get into another relationship. So I will recommend, Amy, for you, if you haven't already, if you're not meeting with a counselor or a therapist, I recommend that, so you can process all that you've been through, because that is going to be necessary for you. That is really going to be necessary for you to get to your next place. But if you try to move too quick, I'm telling you, all those wombs, and when you start to get those triggers, you're not going to know how to process it, because you're going to have to learn how to process it. So hopefully I answered your question. And Amy, you know that you can do the same. You can contact me, Amy. I'll be more than happy to just go into detail. We can definitely talk about that. Let me just see. Was there any other questions? How does one find the boundaries where a newer diagnosis of I cannot see? Okay, let me try. All right. Oh, this is my baby. Okay, hold on. How does one find the boundaries where a newer diagnosis of bipolar depression, disorder, from a spouse is present years or present years? I'm trying to read this. Into a marriage. Oh, wow. That's a good question. All right. Let me talk about that. All right. So when you're in a relationship and there are certain things that is brought to light, whether it's anxiety, depression, bipolar, any of those situations is inside of your marriage. How do you process certain things? Okay. Again, you need the counseling, you need the therapy, you need the medication, you need the education, because there are a lot of times where things are uncovered, things are released in our marriage, and we got to learn how to process it. So I'm not sure. I really can't. I'm trying to see y'all questions, but it's so tiny on my phone. I still can't see it with my glasses on. But you can call me. I can definitely just go deeper and talk to you about that. But when it comes to the process of that, I always tell people you got to get education about the diagnosis and what's alive in your relationship, because it's no different than any other diagnosis. Is how do we manage it? And that's what we need to do. What is the strategy of us managing this in our marriage? Because a lot of times we didn't know that it was present in our relationship, but now that is acknowledged, how do we coexist with the diagnosis of what was presented to me and still have a healthy marriage and a healthy relationship? And you can. Again, I just recommend, the therapy, the education, and how to live when a diagnosis like that is present in your marriage. And prayerfully, I hope I answered that question for you. But you can inbox me, you can call me. I miss you so much. But I hope that I answered that question for you. I think that was it. Is there any other questions? Because I sure enough can. I think that's it. I don't think I see anymore. All my Cash Apps in. All right, Angela, can you do me a favor? Can you run it for me for our winner for tonight? Can you run it for me so we can announce our winner for tonight? Who is our winner for tonight? How do you tell one of your friends? Hold on. This is my Bree. Wait, I got to answer Bree's question. Wait a minute. This is my baby. Hold on. How do you tell one of your friends that they are in a toxic relationship without them feeling some way about it? All right. Let me just say this is down. That's a good question, Bree. Because when it comes to friendships and you try to tell people certain things, listen, you have to set an environment on whether or not your friend is open to hearing from you. Because if she's not willing to ask you your advice, I'm very, very careful on just giving it. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of times when we share certain things to our friends, they go right back to that relationship. And then they feel a certain way about you. So you have to be really spiritually led on how to approach that Brie. You have to be. If you see that your friend is in a toxic relationship, you need to know if your friend comes to you and she asks you, hey, how do you feel about this? And she gives you a platform, then that is when you need to say, listen, I really do believe you may want to look at, doing something different. This is not healthy for you. And I love you and I care about you. But if she's not asking, you got to, that's a tricky question only because I've seen it go bad. I've seen it go bad when somebody say, hey, I saw your man with somebody else, and then they think you want them, and you try to tell them about what you saw, and they mad at you, and they end up going back to the guy, and now they not. So I've seen it go bad. So be prayerful. And whenever God is leading you, he will always make an open for you to do what's necessary. Okay? So that's my advice when it comes to that. Oh my, I miss you so much. I miss you more. I miss you more. I love you so much. Hey, Kia. Hey, I love you. But, so, all right. So I'm just waiting for our winner for tonight. So we can get our winner for tonight. I want to thank all of you. And our winner is, who's our winner for tonight? Who is our winner for tonight? Linda Brooks. Congratulations. Congratulations, Linda Brooks. Please just look for you'll receive, once I get off of our live, you will receive your Cash App for tonight. I want to thank all of you for coming on and really supporting me every Thursday at 7:30. And I want to thank those who got on a little earlier today. Congratulations, Sister Linda. Congratulations. I really thank y'all every time just for really supporting me and the things that God has purposed for me to do. Your topics, make sure you put your topics in the comment section. And some of you, if anybody that's own a business, can you put what type of business you own? If any of you are starting a business, can you put what type of business you're starting? If any of you are looking to do things in ministry, what types of things are you looking to do in ministry if you need help? I'm trying to put together a couple of labs, and I just want to see what the interest is. So if you can put that in the comment section as well, because I just want to help you. I'm about women winning, and so I just want to help you win. I'm a pusher. I keep telling y'all, I'm pushing. I ain't pushing the stuff that you're not supposed to. I'm pushing you into the destiny that God has purposed for you. I love you so much. I thank you. I thank all of you. Y'all have been so supportive. And I thank you for all of those who are going on Instagram, liking the quotes that have been laid in my heart. I thank y'all for watching the videos. I thank you for rewatching. Hey, that's right. Put your business information in. I want to know what type of businesses you have. I want to build this platform. I want to help women. We're going to be doing some seminars and empowering you so that we can work together. We got some strong women that are on here and we can help each other, right? And so these are some of the things that I want to see. So put your email address in, put the name of your business. What type of business do you have? What topics would you like for me to discuss? Please put that in as well. And I see Janelle, that's my baby. I just saw my baby get on. Girl, I miss you. I miss you so much, Janelle. That's my baby. Girl, I miss you. Congratulations to your son. He graduated. That is so good. Yes. Put all of your information in. This is very important. We're building something. This is more than me just coming on. I'm building a community. I'm building a community of women so we can come together so we can win in every area. It's really, really good. Girl, I love you too. I miss you so much. Girl, I miss you. I miss you. And, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Chantel for just giving me the topic, just to deal with toxic relationships and tying your soul and soul ties. And I hope that, please let me know. Did y'all get something tonight? Can y'all just put some thumbs up for me tonight? I just want, if you learned something, if you learned one thing, give me some thumbs up and some hearts. I just want to see, did anybody learn one thing tonight that helped you? Just one. If you learned one thing, I just need to see it. Just flood me for just a second. If you learned one thing, just flood it right now. If you learned one thing that you say, know what, this opened my eyes. You know what, I gotta take time for me. Just one thing. I just need you to flood it for just a second. Awesome. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Any other questions? Did I miss any other questions? I'm sorry, y'all, because I got these glasses, but I still can't see. But I gotta get a bigger. I gotta make the words bigger or something, because I sure enough can't see. Oh, Angie! I love you, girl. I love y'all. All right. So listen. So next week, 7:30, unless I pop on earlier, but 7:30, make sure that you let everybody know. Watch the rebroadcast. Please, please just continue to share and just empower. You know, I pray that everybody just stay positive in the midst of where we are. Just stay strong, stay safe. And just know that we're going to get through, you know, where we are. God got a plan. And remember this, he always have the last move. And I love y'all, and I'll see y'all next week, okay? All right, see y'all later. And again, congratulations, Sister Linda, and I'll see y'all next week. All right, bye-bye.